Hallo und herzlich willkommen in der Sendereihe diplo.international, in der ich meistens Botschafter, aber auch andere Repräsentanten aus der Diplomatie interviewe. Heute haben wir einen ganz hochrangigen Gast, einen Vize-Außenminister. Es ist Herr Mustapha Noman, Vize-Außenminister von Jemen. Und weil er nicht Deutsch sprechen kann, schalten wir jetzt um auf Englisch. Daher heiße ich Sie willkommen in der Sendung Diplo International. Excellency, welcome in Diplo International. We are talking about Yemen. And I know that you have been a columnist. So in the beginning of your career, you were a colleague of me, more or less a journalist, before you became diplomat. And then vice foreign minister.
First, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you and your viewers. I started as a civil engineer. That was my basic profession. Then I turned into politics, then into journalism for 10 years or more, and then back to diplomacy since February of this year.
But journalism is a great job. How could you leave this job?
Well, I'm trying to help, and I just replied to the call of the government to come and try to fix things within the foreign ministry. And this is why I was happy to get this job, of course. And it's giving me the opportunity to help the country and the foreign ministry to regain its posture.
Okay, you have been ambassador in various countries, for instance, Bahrain, in Canada, in India, in Spain.
And South Africa.
And South Africa. And for a long time you have been vice foreign minister.
Yes.
So you are in charge for all the other ambassadors of your country.
Yes.
How many ambassadors are there? How many embassies do you have?
We have 54, if I recall the number. Most of them at the level of ambassadors, some of them as chargé, and some of them as general consuls. But the overall is 54 all over the world.
You also have an embassy in Berlin. Is it a big one or a small one?
It is a small one compared to our embassies in the Arab world. Like the biggest embassy we have is in Egypt and Saudi Arabia. But this is due to the number of Yemenis living in these two countries or working there. But in Germany, it's smaller compared to these two embassies abroad.
Do you know how many Yemenis are living in Germany?
The statistic that we got is like 15,000. Some of them are already naturalized Germans, and we have around 2,000 or 3,000 students here.
Okay.
But the overall will be like 20,000 if we compare those who have a German passport or they are working here or studying.
What are they doing here?
Most of them are just came here after the war started in Yemen, and they found refuge here in the country. Now they are integrated in the society, they're working, or the family, they have their sons in schools, but most of them are on the process of being German citizens.
How are the bilateral relations between Yemen and Germany? Are they continuously or are they changing by some time?
I mean, the relations between Yemen and Germany is very old. It started in the early 60s, and it continued except for a period of maybe 2 years where the relations between West Germany at the time, were cut because of then the Israeli factor in the relations. But then it resumed in 1970, and since then Germany is the second biggest donor to Yemen in various sectors, either in the infrastructure, on education, health. So there is a very strong German presence through these sectors.
And there were also relations to GDR, to the communist East Germany, and from North Yemen and South Yemen. Can you explain it in one sentence?
Well, at that time, GDR was a member of the United Nations, and Yemen had relations with both countries at that time, with Germany and the GDR. But after the unification of Germany or the reunification of Germany, of course, we continued the same policy of friendship between Yemen and Germany as a whole. But GDR was more present in the south because of the similarity of the political system. They were both in going into the pole of the Soviet Union at that time. But our relations with West Germany was much more stronger in the north.
Due to reports of the United Nations, Yemen for a long time has been one of the most critical humanitarian situations, so humanitarian crisis. I think in last time we have a lot of competition. Yeah, also Gaza, or for instance Sudan, also are said to be the most humanitarian crisis. Mm-hmm. So that means that the flashlight is not so much on Yemen. Is it true?
It is true, but this happens after every 10 years. When the war started in Yemen in 2015, all the focus was on Yemen from all over the world, and Germany was one of the very few countries who were seriously involved in trying to reach a peace accord between the warring parties. And thus, I mean, when a war goes beyond 3 or 4 or 5 years and a new war erupts, the first war goes down, it's a little bit in the scale, and the new war starts to get the attention of the world. And this is where we are now. Now, Yemen is not in the focus anymore, and this is why we are losing a lot of aid, a lot of interest, a lot of attention. And this is one of the reasons why I'm in Berlin now, to remind the German government that Yemen is still in need of assistance, not only in the matter of funding, but also in technical assistance, the infrastructure, not only infrastructure that we talk about, but no, the infrastructure of the government to help the government restructure its institutions. And if that doesn't happen, we will collapse more, and we will have see more poverty, more famine, and more troubles that will take with that. Security will be much less if the society is not stable.
You mentioned that this is the reason why you are in Berlin. So who are your counterparts you are talking with?
First, we are going to of course, the foreign ministry, and then we have with the international cooperation, and we have also with the Ministry of Defense, because of the problems that we faced in the past 2 years in the Red Sea, because of the Houthi attacks on the commercial fleet that was passing through that maritime stream. So I'm going to, through the help of our embassy here, to meet with the officials who are concerned about Yemen or related to the Yemeni file, to explain to them that the assistance of the German government is a must, not only for us, which is much needed, but also for the security of the maritime stream of the Red Sea. If Yemen is not stable, there will never be stability in the Red Sea itself. So this is my message that I'm going to pass to the officials I'm going to meet through this week.
What can be done to avoid the maritime threats?
The threat is happening because there is no strong government stable in the country because of the war inside Yemen. And if the society and the government is not stable, is not strengthened by the aid and assistance of the international community, then nobody would be able to control or safeguard the maritime traffic in that part of the world. So we need the assistance, and that will help those who are using the Red Sea for their traffic.
So Germany should be very interested in negotiating with you and to find solutions.
It's not negotiating, it's because it's a mutual interest for both parties. They are using the Red Sea, and the Red Sea is mostly, we have a border, if you are talking about the coastline of the Yemen, it's 2,100 kilometers. It's very long. And this is why we have a lot of refugees coming, or illegal refugees, of course, or illegal immigrants coming to Yemen. And Yemen is not their final destination, of course. There are also the drug trafficking, arms trafficking in that part of the world. And we saw what the Houthis have done in the Red Sea when they started attacking commercial vessels that were passing in that stream. So the German government, if it helps the Yemeni government, and we are not, I would not say counterparts, because we know that we are small compared to Germany. So what we need from Germany is to keep its assistance at the level that we witnessed during the past decade. Now the problem is because of so many issues that have come to or changes in the German policy, they are reducing the amount of funds that they are going to spend in Yemen. And that will be reflecting in instability in the country. And if instability in the country increases, the dangers and the risk in the Red Sea will increase accordingly.
Which countries are the most important donors?
It was the United States, of course, US aid. It was Saudi Arabia, of course, and then Germany. Now we are alarmed that the German government has decided to stop its assistance to Yemen by the end of 2026. And due to domestic policies and domestic measures that they have taken, but this will be reflected in Yemen by the instability of the government, as I mentioned, by more poverty, more famine, less education, and less security. And this will bring insecurity to the Red Sea that is more important to Germany than to Yemen itself.
So famine is a very big problem in Yemen. And I think you have 32 million inhabitants, and more or less 2/3 are affected by problems like famine. The total number, the population in Yemen can reach 35 million. 35? We don't know, we don't have a real figure, because we did not do any campaign as a census to see. The last one we had was like 15 years ago. We could not do another one. Mm-hmm. So the level of poverty is around 75% of the population. 75%. 75% under the international standards of poverty. And with the less aid coming from Germany, who used to come from the US, we will see an increase in that number. So we can reach 80, 85, and this is very dangerous because it means instability, social unrest will happen in the country, and if that happens, the dangers will be reflected elsewhere. I'm not threatening here, but I'm just reflecting what we know, and this is what we want the German government also to know and understand. Do the Germans have to be aware of huge numbers of refugees coming from Yemen to Germany?
It's very few if you compare them to other nationalities that are here. We don't have that big number. When I'm talking about 20,000, it's not something big compared to what you saw from Turkey or Syria or Iraq in the past. I don't think it's a number that will be a burden on the social economy or the German society.
Mm. You told me that you have been to Berlin 1972 when you were very young.
Yes, I'm still young.
Yes, of course, very young.
Yeah.
And so at that time, Berlin was separated in a communist part and in a more or less capitalistic part. So you have been aware of the situation in Berlin. Mm. When you came now, today, sun is shining, although it's winter, what are your first impressions?
Of course, it's not the first time that I visit Berlin after the reunification of Germany. But of course, I feel more comfortable now, because at the past, I remember coming by the train, we had to stop at the borders, and then we'll see the East German military police coming into the trains with their dogs searching for other people who tried or were trying to escape East Germany. And that was for me, it's a memory that is all very deeply printed in my mind when I was sitting there next to my father and seeing the dogs going around to fetch for East Germans who were trying to flee the miseries that they were living here. But now, of course, you see a modern city, you see a very bright society, and you feel your freedom, you feel that you are relaxed, you don't have that pressure. And I remember that I wanted to come to East Germany at that time, and we had to go to the Charlie Point to cross, and it was a long queue, of course, and we could not make it at that time. But this time you are feeling that you are in a very prosperous society, very prosperous city that I would love to visit every now and then.
Okay. Talking about the situation with people who wanted to escape and to flee brings me back to the situation in Yemen, because Yemen is hosting a lot of refugees from other countries.
Illegal immigrants.
Illegal, yeah, and is also a transit country for refugees coming from Djibouti, Somalia, and
Ethiopia. Elsewhere.
Ethiopia, yes. How does Yemen, which is a poor country, manage to have them?
The figures we have 100,000 legal immigrants.
100,000.
100,000, and those are, their living is funded by the UN institutions. Mm-hmm. Now we have 600,000 who are illegal immigrants, and for a country like Yemen, this figure is huge, and the burden on the infrastructure, which is already very poor, is putting more pressure on it. It's putting more pressure in security sector, in the water sector, in power sector. But Yemenis have the tendencies to allow these illegal immigrants to work and find jobs. Also, they are competing with Yemenis. But the society in Yemen is welcoming them because we as Yemenis, we have witnessed immigration from Yemen to Ethiopia and to Somalia in the past. Now the problem, as you mentioned, that they are not targeting Yemen, those illegal immigrants. They are targeting Saudi Arabia or the Sultanate of Oman, where they will have better opportunities to work. But of course, this is another security concern for the Saudis and the Omanis. But we as a Yemeni government, we cannot cope with this number, and we cannot even sustain the capabilities to welcome them. And this is very saddening for us.
Your government, which countries have solidarity with your country and with your government, and which don't?
I can't name them, but I must say that we have the best relations we have is with the Saudis, Saudi Arabia, which is the biggest donor to Yemen. And within the EU, we are maintaining the best of relations according to our capabilities. Now we have Germany, as I mentioned, we have Norway, we have Finland, we have Sweden, and the Dutch government. But having said that, with the attention that these countries are paying more, first to the defense budget within their own countries, and also due to the Ukrainian war, that Yemen has become like a country that's not of great importance to the EU compared to Ukraine, or compared even to Syria now. Everybody is looking after Syria, which is a good thing, but this is taking the attention from Yemen away.
How do the Yemenis see the conflict in Gaza?
Of course, we were very sad. We were very, for us, it was really a war that was not necessary. And I think that the reaction of the Israeli government went beyond rationality. I mean, we have seen the destruction that happened in Gaza, which was not needed in my personal view. We saw now when they are trying to go back to their normal life that the Israeli army is still, although we have what is called a ceasefire, they are still targeting the civilians there. So this created in the society, it created a spirit of anti-Israel, anti-West in general. And we were, no, but I'm not, by saying that, I'm not condoning what happened on the 7th of October. But as I said, the reaction was not proportional. We saw the destruction, it seems to me, like either a typhoon or an earthquake that happened in that place of the world. So it was very saddening to us and very alarming that we will see a new generation will be raised in Gaza that will always remember the atrocities. And a country like Germany or Austria or Europe in general, they have witnessed the disasters of wars and what happens after that.
Why is the Middle East region so difficult?
I think it can be related to many factors. The first factor, I think, is democracy. It's lacking democracy, real democracy in these societies. Democracy can solve problems. It's not a problem. It can solve problems. If everybody is talking about their problems within their own countries, it can help. It can create a better society. But saying it is difficult because those who are dealing with the Middle East do not know the cultural aspects of that region. They do not understand the background of the problems that we faced in that region. And this is why the solutions that come from abroad do not really work. Like talking about Gaza, we'll go back there, when talking about Gaza and creating a new Riviera there, that's one of the mistakes about the misunderstanding. Do the people in Gaza wanted the Riviera, or did they only want a small house, a hospital, and a school? But this is the difficulty, that they don't understand the psyche of the people within the Middle East. But I said, and I reiterate that, I think it's democracy can solve all these problems. Real democracy, not only going to the voting polls.
In this frame, I ask you, you have written a book a long time ago about reforms that have to be done in the Muslim world.
Yes. There were articles that were compiled in a small book, yeah.
What is the essence of the book?
The essence of that I saw that the clergy or the clerics within the Muslim world were against modernization. They were stopping it at one point. And this led to more ignorance within these societies. And I always advocated that if the governments started to look after the education, health, social programs, we can have a stable society. It's not about, and the reform of Islam that I was calling for at that time, is that it's not only what's written in the Quran or the Prophet's sayings, because there is a lot of it in the Quran, for example. They were just stories, but stories that happened thousands of years ago. So I cannot just reflect them and try to apply them or implement them now. The teachings of the 10th century or 15th century cannot be applied or implemented now. We have to modernize our understanding of Quran and of the Prophet's teachings. So that was my main concern at that time.
At the end of our interview, when you go to Berlin and you see those Christmas markets, which are popular, but you also see many barricades. Mm. And you know why we have these barricades, because there have been some extremists killing people. What do you think about it?
It's sad because I knew, as I said, I knew Germany in '72, where everybody can go around in peace and feeling safe and secure. It's not something that I'm happy to see, because I wanted to walk around and feeling secure, feeling safe. So this gives me a sense of insecurity. Even if I see more police, it's not a sign of security for me. It's a sign of concern and worry. So I think it's due to these extremists who are controlling the minds of some youth and using them for their own purposes. And I hope that one day will go, Germany and other countries, that we can go around without these barricades everywhere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellency.
Thank you.
I wish you good success in your talks with the German politicians. And maybe we see one day again.
Inshallah.
And I wish all the best for your country.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Vielen Dank, dass Sie zugesehen haben in diesem Gespräch mit dem Vize-Außenminister von Jemen. Wir haben das englische Gespräch im Untertitel auf Deutsch, wie Sie gesehen haben, bearbeitet. Und ich freue mich, Sie wieder zu sehen am nächsten Donnerstag um 19:30 Uhr in der Sendung Diplo International. Danke und auf Wiedersehen.